That's it.
Town that
I
has
guess
a
we
lot of
have to
cars.
There you go. I'm good.
It's official.
All right. Welcome, everybody.
Low
Let's
level
call
of
to
safety.
order the meeting of October 13th. It is 7:30. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As always, we start out the evening with some announcements. The Shining Star Gala will be held on Saturday, November 1st at the Camelot Event Center. There will be a cash bar, raffle baskets, and lots of fun. Tickets are on sale at the website at townofmcallis.org. It's the time of the year again. You probably got the postcard in the mail for fall leaf pickup. It began today, Monday, October 13th, and will run until Wednesday, November 26th. All the information and the protocols are on the website and on that postcard. The town of McCandless and the Environmental Advisory Committee would like to invite you for a free course on Tree Pittsburghs covering tree biology, health, proper planning, pruning techniques, and more on Saturday, October 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. located here at Town Hall. Registration is required, and you can see the website for more details. The town of McCandless is seeking applications for several boards and committees. It has been listed on the website as well as social media. Dump your junk at our dumpster day on October 25th from 8 to 4. Dumpsters will be located over here in McCandless Public Works Yard, and our website has additional information. You do have to be a resident of the town. Are there any other announcements from anyone else in council this evening? Seeing none, then at this time, we are going to ask for a presentation from the town of McCandless social worker, Ms. Fry. Please.
Hello, everybody. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jennifer Fry. I'm the social worker for the town of McCandless for the police department. Bear with me, I got a little bit of a cold, so if you don't hear me, I can speak a little louder. So I'm going to read something for you. It's kind of a year in review of what's going on, what's been happening, and kind of what I see going on from here. It says, good evening. Thank you for your opportunity to share an update on our police social work program. This program was created to bring social work perspective to public safety, focusing on people, solutions, and not just crisis. Every day, our team works alongside law enforcement to respond to complex situations involving mental health, substance use disorder, homelessness, and family crisis. Our goal is to connect individuals and families with meaningful support and resources, helping them stabilize and move forward. Over the past year, we responded to many calls, but 301 of those calls required social work approach was needed. We connected individuals and families to treatment programs, domestic abuse support, aging care, hoarding support, food assistance, and grief management services. Beyond the immediate response, we provided follow-up care and case management also. We also continue to strengthen partnerships and community organizations, including North Hills Community Outreach, which, if you're not familiar with, is a community organization addressing the needs of people in crisis, hardship, and poverty. Also, Hearth is someone that I worked with closely, which provides housing and support for victims and children affected by domestic abuse. And also recently a group called Our Black Rose, which they offer post-vention services for suicide loss survivors. They're also going to be providing us with care packages that will have more information on what to do after you lose a loved one to suicide. Also, I've worked closely with schools such as North Allegheny School District in response to their crisis and helping their staff obtain access to the Allegheny County 302 reporting system, as well as hospitals like Western Psych and Resolve Crisis Network to help with mental health crisis. These collaborations help us respond more effectively, reduce strain on law enforcement, and build a stronger network of support for those who need it most. As we look ahead, I plan to expand services by launching a social work referral form. That's a big mouthful. A social worker referral form on the Town of McCandless website, which is up and posted right now. It allows residents to submit confidential requests for help for themselves and someone they may know. So they don't have to go through dispatch or calling 911 to be able to reach out to me if they have a situation or know somebody that needs help. We'll continue to invest in prevention efforts, continuing education, increasing community engagement through public events and open conversations. You may see me out with Officer Davis and the K9 going to some of the schools and talking to some people in the future. Building these connections before crisis occurs allows us to better serve residents and strengthen trust across our community. Finally, I want to thank all of our officers, our community partners, and residents who continue to support this program. Together, we're showing that public safety isn't just about enforcement, it's about care, connection, and creating pathways to stability. I do really want to quickly share a situation that we had without releasing too much private information about somebody. It was a resident that suffered from domestic abuse. It was a very trying situation. The resident had a small child. With my services, we were able to assist her with her mental health and get stabilized, also get out of her current situation, and also secure housing for herself and her child. So pretty proud that we got her in a better situation than what she was. But anybody have any questions?
Great.
Just a comment.
Yeah, sure.
I think what you're doing is fantastic.
Thank you.
You know, being the liaison to public safety. I can't even begin to tell you how nice it is to not have officers doing continual wellness checks
Right,
on the same people all the time.
right.
It allows our police officers to be police officers when they don't have your area of expertise.
Right, and we've seen a decreased call in people that I want to say that were continuously calling 911 before because they got services and referrals. They're no longer calling 911. They have other outlooks. They have therapy that they've gotten stabilized on where they don't need to call 911. They have other support services.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it very much.
One question, one comment. First, the question, this social worker form on our website, how do we plan on promoting that? Have you worked with our information officer about how, I'm assuming that can go into like McMail, all those good things? Is that the thought process?
Right, so we just made it live,
Okay.
I think, yesterday. So we did create a QR code. So there's been talks about possibly maybe putting that on vehicles. Not really sure how we're gonna do that yet. I'm open to discussing if there's other ways we could promote it.
Okay. I definitely would love to see it on social media,
Right.
you know,
right,
our
absolutely.
McMailers, our flyers, our newsletters, as much as we can to get that word out there.
Okay.
And then just my comment is, your story in the end about the resident, and I think, you know, to note, people don't look at McAllis as having problems, and that's something you unfortunately get to see here.
Right.
And I think it's good that you tell that story because people need to know neighbors have issues. So
Right.
we really appreciate you and all that you do for the town. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I want to let everyone know that if they submit a form online, it is confidential. Nobody else is going to see it except for me. So just put that out there.
Thank you very much.
You've
Thank
done
you.
amazing work.
Excellent
Thank you
work.
Yeah,
very
thank
much.
you.
much.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. All right, we are going to continue on here. At this time, we have a moment for public comment on agenda items. So if you have a comment to be made on an agenda item, this is your time to come forward. And I'll ask, did you sign in today?
I did, thank you.
Thank you.
Ellen Wright, so used to saying the
I know.
address, it's just about to flow. I had some questions about the new business, about the action concerning Allegheny County vacant property recovery program. And I see the resolutions, but the resolutions raise more questions, and it would be nice to have had more information in the packet explaining some of what was going on with those properties. So I looked at the Allegheny vacant property website, and it looks like it's for properties that are tax delinquent. When I looked at the properties, the map wasn't coming up on the real estate portal, so I couldn't get a really good idea about the properties themselves. And I'm curious what those properties are zoned for that are part of that program, that the two properties that are being listed there. The resolution says that this is what we're doing is supported by the comprehensive plan. And I was curious what part of the comprehensive plan that it's in accordance with. I see that there's some redevelopment, but it seems I wasn't really clear how it aligned with comprehensive plan. So let's see, I think that those were, oh, and it, as far as the comprehensive plan that says, transparency and information, it didn't align with that part because I had all those questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Other public comment on agenda items?
Hi, good evening, Marcia Caliendo.
Good evening.
Just so that you don't think Ms. Wright is the only one who looks at these agendas, I did too and had the exact same questions. I went on to, with these block numbers, saw that one's a small piece of property on House, one's a larger piece of property off on Whitmer. I know that both back, taxes haven't been paid. So my questions, are we paying for them? What are we going to pay? Hopefully there's just discussion that we get to know that. And also, it says for the acquisition and subsequent disposition. So do we already know what we're going to do with it? So I'm hoping that we can have a discussion so we can get those questions answered. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anything else on agenda items? Please.
Rita Martin, 10585 Groves Road. I have a question about, can those properties be sold to any developer, anything? I mean, because they're delinquent, right? They could be. I mean, is that what happens to delinquent property?
A little bit, and I was gonna give a little bit of synopsis, no, but we can talk about it now. This is a countywide program.
Yeah,
So
I know that.
the county has, and we've done a few of these before, we just haven't seen them in the last year or so. The county basically puts out a program, and by all means, John, jump in here when I'm speaking out of turn. The county puts out this program to help neighboring properties who may not be looking at the blight in the rundown property next to them. They allow the ability for them to acquire that property over time. So this is used throughout the county everywhere. Part of that is when they apply for it through the county, they have to come to us. And the thought process here is this cuts through a lot of the red tape for that property owner. Normally, it's a more drawn out process with the county, and the county has established this program to kind of increase it. So the thought process on this was, instead of us staring at blighted properties and things that have back taxes and things that affect, this is given kind of a fast track for the county to speed this process up. We get just the applications. Everything else is handled through the county, and then it comes to us since it's within our municipality to vote on for approval or not. But we don't really have a whole lot more detail than that. It's a countywide program. We just see it at the end. Anything to add to that?
John, have you seen this work through in your former community?
Everybody's familiar with.
We've done these in McCandless.
Okay.
In my term,
They've happened here
many
before.
times, yeah. This is
Oh.
normally just a housekeeping item, but it's good that
Yeah,
people
it's
under
curious to
educate this,
understand.
yeah.
Everybody's familiar with the sheriff's sale process. If a property goes up for a sheriff's sale, people can go bid at the courthouse and anybody can buy it if they want to. And this, and while let Steve fill in also, and the county created this, if you're an adjacent property owner. you have to-
That's the key.
That's the key.
That's what makes it the fast track. You have to be the
next door.
neighbor.
And you
Okay,
have
so
to
they're
not
the
a-
first.
To get rid of your empty
Option.
lot next door, so that it's run down, nobody's caring for it, people are leaving junk and garbage there. I don't like that. If I buy this property, I'll take care of it.
And they have to
Yes.
satisfy the taxes.
Okay,
So they just get the first.
but if
chance
they
to buy it.
don't, then it comes back to the township or what?
It stays as an
So if
unpaid.
somebody, for this to get to us, there has to be an applicant who sent this into the county to apply to the program. So that applicant has already checked those boxes.
Okay.
This resolution is like a last box check for the
Okay,
county to say that the canvas is okay with this too.
Yeah, but to your question, to directly answer your question, that property doesn't become the town's property.
no.
Yeah, we
no,
don't get involved and we don't
have
try
the
to chase
No.
it.
No, I meant come to you as far as who has the purchase. Yeah, okay, that's.
It's
explains
taxes
it.
and liens, correct?
Yeah. anything
Yes.
to
Any
satisfy.
liens.
If nobody wants it, it goes to sheriff's sale, correct?
Could.
It could, it doesn't necessarily,
The school district initiates that.
yeah,
But-
that's,
But these are properties that nobody would likely buy in a sheriff's
Yeah.
sale. Like the one parcel is just a super small strip. Like nobody's gonna buy that at sheriff's sale to do what? I don't know. Cut the grass? Nobody's gonna do that.
that's a little bit of explanation. We can again talk a little bit more about it where it's under new business as well. So Any other questions on agenda items? Okay, seeing none, let's continue on. The previous meeting minutes for September 22nd were sent out.
I make a motion to approve.
There's been a motion to approve those
Second.
minutes. There's a second. Any changes? Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Continuing on to reports of committees, Public Safety Committee. The chief's report was in your packet and he is here this evening. Would you like to give us some high-level summary?
Certainly. I don't think I need this and it's not working, right?
Hello. There it is.
Working well.
Okay.
So to call you folks' attention to the monthly report. I won't speak into the mic.
Well, can you put it back towards you because it's making a terrible echo? You can turn it down so not to. Is there a way to?
There we go. Is that better?
That's perfect.
There you go.
I'll just lower my pitch and tone. Paragraph 1 discusses a lot of the K-9 teams training that they had in the month of September for the police department. Our K-9 was recertified in all of his annual certifications. So that's good news for the K-9 team. Paragraph 2, I talk about training for many of our specialized units, such as the detective division. Drug recognition expert had some training in there, as well as a few other trainings that we mentioned in those first two paragraphs. Also, just below that, Jenny already spoke tonight, but the month of September, she referred 37 individuals to various social work services. And she has here that all 37 either were accepted or received some sort of service or support. So that's good. I had a typo down in, I guess you'd call it paragraph 4, September 18th and 24th, not October. Officers participated in occupant safety detail and they issued a total of 17 citations. Community Day was held in September. We were part of that. We participated as a police department where we engaged a lot of the community members. The K-9 officer was there with his partner. Obviously, they're always an easy hit. We threw a bunch of swag at a bunch of kids, residents, young and old. And we sold a bunch of our K-9 t-shirts back. We sold a bunch. I don't know what the final numbers were, but we have a new design on a K-9 t-shirt and it was very popular at Community Day. Also in September, hopefully we will have a swearing in maybe at the next meeting if all goes as planned, but we extended 2 conditional offers of employment to 2 police candidates, both accepted and are going through the final stages of the onboarding to hire them. And hopefully in another couple of weeks, we will swear in 2 new officers. The Great Race was held in September. We had 3 officers form a McCandless police team and participate in the Great Race. They're all 3 still coming to work every night, so I guess there were no injuries. So that's a good thing. And they designed their own McCandless police t-shirt, and I think that that will probably grow as the years continue and we'll get more participation from the officers. And finally, on my report here, we had at least, I say at least, but we had 39 calls relating to deer in the month of September. Big Daddy removed 27 deer carcasses from the town in September. In case there was anything that wasn't documented, that's why I say at least 39.
Thank you for that report. Any questions for the chief?
Chief, I'll ask you a follow-up question about the deer. How are the hunting permits coming in? How many hunters do you think you have registered so far?
So I just processed 3 more today. I would put that number probably around 20. And to give it some context, last year was the first year. I think we had about 4 or 5 hunters and I think about 4 deer taken. This year we're up. We've got to be kissing 20.
So the number of hunters are up. We should anticipate the number of deer harvested up also.
We better.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay.
I have a tree house that you can use as a tree stand on the yard.
I'll let them know. Thank you, sir.
All right, continuing on here. Thanks, chief. Fire marshal's report was also included in your packet, but Jeff is here this evening. You also would like to give us a summary, please.
I think my mic's working. All right, I'll speak up a little bit.
So I'll start off with, for the month of September, for the Bureau of Fire Prevention, there were 11 fire code inspections, 24 fire marshal calls. I just started in September, kicked off the fire prevention programs. I taught 4 in September to 183 kids, as well as 1 employee safety training for 20 employees. So moving on to the fire calls, remember this is 1 month prior, just because of the reports. So this is for the month of August. There were 121 calls in the town of McCandless, 31 responses out of town. So that would be our mutual aid out of town, for a total of 152 calls for the month of August, 51 of those being medical or QRS. And again, our top 3 types of fire calls, they just kind of interact a little, or kind of mix and match which one's number 1. But it continues to be motor vehicle accidents, which is actually our number 1, along with service calls and then commercial fire alarms. So those are our top 3 types of fire calls. What I've been kind of working on in September, attended the emergency management quarterly training that's held once a quarter for through Allegheny County Emergency Services. I was working on finalizing the 2026 proposed budget, and obviously with Community Day was fast approaching. Continue to work on the planning the safety plan for that, as well as attended it. I will say it was a gorgeous day, thank goodness. And hats off to all our first responders and all the volunteers that worked that event. From what I could tell, there were a lot of people and a lot of happy faces. So I think everything went very well. Now we're on the Winterfest planning, and we did have a steering committee on the 23rd of September. Was continuing to get ready for October, and I'm well into fire prevention in our school district. And then the one big thing that I'll be working on moving forward is coordinating with our consultant, who will be assisting with writing the joint standard operating guideline and bylaws for the fire companies. So other than that, you all know, I know I've heard from a number of you about the firefighter appreciation banquet. So I appreciate that. If there's anybody I haven't heard from, if you could just please let me know if you can make it, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Jeff? I will say my daughter, McKnight Elementary, loves Fire Prevention Day. We come home with toys and prizes, and it definitely was the highlight of the day. So thanks for all that you do with the kids.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. The building permit report is in your packet for the month of September. If there's any questions, they can be directed to Mr. Schwend. Seeing none, continuing on with liaison reports, Mr. Wall, the Personnel Board.
The Personnel Board met, the minutes are in your packet, and there is a meeting coming up shortly.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Wall? Seeing none. Volunteer Firefighter Steering Committee, Mr. Hart.
The Volunteer Firefighter Steering Committee met, had a good meeting with Mr. Wistner and Mr. Schwend, adding to make it much more functional, much more useful recently. The minutes are in your packet.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Any questions? Okay, at this time, is there any public comment on public safety? Okay, seeing none. Continuing on to reports of facilities management. The Public Works activities report was in your packet, but Brad is here this evening. Like to give us a little summary, please.
Sure. Yeah, it's working for me. We have continued on with our 2026 basin paving program. We did some drainage work out there and replaced the sidewalk. We did some line painting in the Indian Plan, some stop bars there. And we began the project for the lights over at the Heritage Center. And we also completed our paving landscape from this year's paving program.
Any questions for Brad?
When is the lighting supposed to be done over there?
within the next 2 weeks, it should be wrapped up.
What happened to the road right off of Cumberland? Brand new road and they're ripping it up again.
Which road?
If you come, say you're making a left like you're going to the hospital off of McKnight on to Cumberland, first road there to the left.
Gas line, that, the gas company's
Gas
replacing gas lines. The previous ones that tore it up was the water company. Now it's the gas
Yes,
company.
gas
Brand new road.
And it's, unfortunately, that's the state road, you know, so.
No, this was on our road, not Cumberland. This was,
Going towards the hospital,
if you're going on
Not
Cumberland
county.
towards the hospital would be the very left, first left.
yeah,
It's Joseph.
I know, and Brad can speak to this, we try our best to coordinate with utilities, but if likely in all their things, they run into something that's further than what they are, and they have to fix it, then
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
public work, or that's public utilities, unfortunately.
Friday, I got an email from, or a text message from Chief Harpster at North Allegheny. Nobody knew at NA about them digging up Cumberland Road, and it's gonna be one direction from the hours of 8 in the morning until 4:30.
9 to 3, yeah, they tried to, it looked like they tried to coordinate it between the school times, but again, it's a state-owned road, we provide plowing services is our only function on that, so you're a little handcuffed there with it being a state-owned road. But I do want to stress, because I know it's important, I know Public Works does a adamant job before we put out our paving contract. We clear with all the utility companies of plans currently and future plans so that we try not to pave roads that they're going to dig up.
How much notice did you get on this one?
This current one, I received the one call last week.
Last week?
I found out on WPXI today. And I said to Brad, I said, yeah, this was happening. He said, yeah, not really.
Some
I think-
utility companies will have a pre-construction meeting, but this one did not happen, so.
Pete, is that people's?
Yes.
It's a sizable line too, so
Yes.
it's their big division.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you, I had a meeting with Westview Water and they were exceedingly complimentary about you and your department.
It's wonderful to hear. Try to work our best with them.
Any other comments for Brad?
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Good luck with leaf and plow season.
Can't wait. It started today. Very excited.
If you have a comment, wait till we get the public comments. If you want to just yell something, by all means, if you want to give them praise, I won't stop you from praise.
As in,
What lights outside that are,
In
yeah.
the- in the field?
Yeah, in the field. So often they're on and there's nobody there, and I just wondered if that's part of your domain.
We are in charge of them. From season to season, we do change them, so it all depends if they're playing baseball or the
Yeah.
softball league there at nighttime, so.
All right. Let's continue on here to liaison reports, Environmental Advisory Committee, Mr. Giorgio.
Your meeting minutes in your packet. I was out of town last week, but Trish went in my place.
Yeah, I did go, and they're a very busy committee, but we also were able to welcome our two new junior committee members, Jenna and Nadia, who are very excited. One of them really wants to focus on water quality and the other one on parks. So they are a great fit for the EIC. I'm really happy they're on board.
Any questions? Mr. Seeing none. Ad hoc Tech Committee, Mr. Wall, there was no meeting. Ad hoc Stormwater Management Committee, there also was no meeting. At this time, is there any public comment on the facilities management? I know you got your comment in. Oh, by all means.
Paul Heckman. I just want to thank the Public Works. I drove through Indian Village, and I have to say, I really like not just the stop bar, but the yellow line that makes people know which side of the road they're supposed to be on, because quite often you come through those places, including our neighborhood, where I wouldn't mind one. So people don't be in the middle of the road when you're trying to also get in that same space.
You got sidewalks instead.
You know, you gotta get what you can, well, but they look great. The only other thing, and I'll wait till after the meeting for the questions from my community. Because it's public safety, but it'll.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Any other public comment on facilities management? Seeing none, reports of the Services Committee, liaison reports, McKenna Township Sanitary Authority, Mr. Casey.
The report's in your packet, and I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Casey? Seeing none, McKenna Franklin Park Ambulance Authority, again, Mr. Casey.
I apologize, some of the information might have come late, but I do want to note that they have $1,612,308 in the bank, which is more than 6 months operating revenue. They also recently did a focus group. We had put a gentleman by the name of Keith Hall on the board, and he still stays active with the agency, with the authority, and tries to do things to help them. And his partner actually came in and did the focus group. So I'm looking forward to the results of that to see what kind of continuous improvements they can make. And reports in your packet, should you have any other questions?
We were talking about the media presence that the Ambulance Authority has had. And kind of joking because we get to see Christelle a couple times a day now. And, but I also appreciate that. And I think that's a great start, getting word out.
I think it's important that we note that instead of just putting people on these boards, we need to put the right people on these boards, people that can actually benefit our authorities. And I think we're doing a pretty good job. Thank you.
I do want to also go with Ms. Klugman's comments there. I think the McKenna Ambulance Authority is doing a great job in their social media and their advertising. I think they have found some way to put it in front of my Facebook. I think every day, every moment I open it up, the Ambulance Authority has my number. They are definitely there. So it's a great program. I'm glad.
I wasn't actually going to speak to that because we're 1 month in a raise. So it'll be next month. We'll talk about the report that they've done.
I'm glad to see that going on. Okay.
Thank you.
Northland Public Library Authority, Mr. Georgia.
Your meeting minutes in your packet. The light is at the end of the tunnel. The building is looking amazing. I think I just saw on social media the new sign is up. Everything's looking sharp, and Amy and Bob are here tonight to present the 2026 budget to us.
Great. Well, there are two major things happening in Pittsburgh. The airport is opening up and Northland Public Library Edition is. So by all means, we know which one's the bigger one. So.
And we're saving the best ribbon cutting for last. I'll just say that. As was mentioned earlier, I'm fighting some fall allergies, but so bear with me. You should have the slides in your packet. I'm going to do my best to just add to them and not just read the slides, because I feel you're all very capable as library users that you can read for yourselves. On the budget highlights for the expenditures, we do have a little higher operating increase this year over last year. Last year, we worked really, really hard to hold those increases in check. This year, and we just couldn't keep that low of an increase. So we do have an overall 5.7% increase. Most of this is due to a triennial salary survey that we did. And that shows that the vast majority of our positions are more than 10% below local market value for comparable positions. So a lot of our increase is for our payroll to try and get those salaries up where they belong so that we can decrease turnover and increase the pool of candidates that we get. Like everybody else, we're seeing a lot fewer applications for our vacant positions. So we're hoping that that will help attract more candidates and better quality candidates as well. We are going to be reducing our bookmobile service. We currently sponsor One Stop up in Marshall Township, and that stops once a week. And we are going to change that to once every other week so that we can shift those dollars towards programming, because that actually reaches more residents. So it's a better use of our limited dollars. We are also still struggling with Microsoft licensing costs. As you heard in the past years, Microsoft has kicked libraries off of the educational licensing and moved us on to nonprofit licensing, which is a huge increase for us. We are in the process of changing the licenses that we use to try and reduce those costs and reducing some of the licenses. We also, on the revenue side, if you go ahead, Diane. We are proud that we are increasing our internally generated revenue to help offset that overall operating cost increase. We've had reduced, actually non-existent meeting room revenue while we've been under construction. So as soon as we can open those doors for those meeting rooms, we don't need the meeting room to check out books anymore. We can start renting those out again to the public. We'd actually started doing some of that because some of the delays in the project, we had to pull back on that. Plus, the project has added a new business or conference room on the upper level that's fully equipped with a beautiful touchscreen that we are able to even charge higher rates for the public. As always, we offer discounts to our residents for rental of those rooms. We're also very proud to see an increase from our foundation, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But additionally, we will have rent from our cafe vendors, and they are very excited. In fact, they're bringing their staff in tomorrow to tour the cafe facility. We have now passed our plumbing inspection and our electric inspection. So we, as Jason said, we are getting closer, and we can't wait to have all of that open. It looks like state funding, the best we can hope for is flat funding for libraries. But again, obviously that we don't know that for sure yet. So we're holding out hope that it's at least flat funding. We're projecting flat again for our table gaming revenues. We had overestimated that a little bit this year, but we're going to hold tight with the NFL draft coming in. We're confident that we'll see a kick in those revenues next year. RAD has not finalized their budget, but their preliminary budget does show a small increase for libraries. Unfortunately, the way the formula falls out, we're looking at a few $100s of an increase from RAD, but we've had enough years where we've lost $30,000 to $70,000 from RAD, so flat funding we'll accept at this point from them. If you go ahead, Diane. I told you I wanted to mention about the foundation. We were challenged by this board a number of years ago to increase our funding from the foundation. And you will see on the graph there that we've done just that. They rose to the challenge. We've got an amazing board, amazing staff now working for the foundation. Between 2024 and 2025, we saw a $46,000 increase in the annual operating grant that they make to the library. For next year, they're increasing that again by another $90,000, and that's annual operating grants. In addition, you'll see this year, they provided for the construction project, $250,000 grant. They also did fundraising of over $76,000 to fully cover the cost of all the new furniture in the new parts of the building. And they donated the signs that were mentioned. So that was another $40,000. And that was done through paver sales and naming rights opportunities. So we're very proud of what that foundation has been able to do. And that brings us to our municipal summary. So the municipal increase, because of some of those internal funding increases, is held to 4.8%. And you can see the percentage changes for each of the municipalities, and that's through the breakdown from our funding formula that we use. Are there any questions about the operating budget? No? Okay. I have just a couple of highlights on the project. So there's a quick budget summary. Of course, this isn't finalized yet, so a lot of these are projected or estimates, but you can see it's about a $4.1 million project. We had the fire pump and the sprinkler system renovation that had to happen in order to complete the construction project. And then we have our ADA restroom that's on the second floor. That hasn't started yet because the book nook has to move out of there into their new spaces before we can start work on the ADA restroom. But we have $125,000 budgeted for that. Revenues, we brought in over $2.8 million in external grant funding from outside of the organization. Our foundation, as you saw, brought in another $368,000. And that left 1.2 million approximately to come out of our capital savings. So there's no debt involved at all in this project, and we're very proud of that fact. Go ahead, Diane. And just wanted you to know that through it all, we stayed open. I think we've only been closed so far, maybe a day and a half. We'll probably close one more day when we move into the new spaces before we actually open it up, but we've been busy in the first half of the year. Over 500,000 items checked out, a lot of new library card holders. Programs were curtailed some, so we expect to see that come back up again with our new facilities. And that's pretty much what we've been doing. We can't wait. You will all be getting invitations for ribbon cutting as soon as I'm confident of a date. We want to allow about 3 weeks between the invitations and the actual date. And until we really finish those last couple inspections, I'm holding off on that. We're hoping we can squeeze it in before Thanksgiving, but it might have to be in the beginning of December for the ribbon cutting. But as soon as we get the occupancy permit, we're going to open the doors and let everybody in. Any questions?
I want to congratulate you, not only on the renovation, but what a great career you've had.
Thank you, Jeff.
And I want to thank you for the time. Very rare to have a quiet difference maker. You, my dear, are a quiet difference maker. You go to work every day. You impact thousands of people, and you've made an indelible mark on our community. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Don't go there. Don't get me started.
Thank you for coming and making your
Thank you very much.
presentation.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, is there any public comment on services committee?
Hi, Marcia Caliendo. I want to qualify a statement that Mr. Casey made relative to the ambulance authority. For the first time in the 6 years I've been on the board, yeah, we have savings of a little over 6 months, which is what our auditors have said, and we are very proud of that. We've worked very hard raising funds with the municipal support we're getting. We very much appreciate that. But I also, on the other side, we've recently have been surveying some of the other ambulance companies around, and we find out that we're still underpaying some of our employees. So we're working on a program. Our goal is to retain our employees. We all know it costs more to hire somebody and to train them than to keep somebody. So there are going to be expenditures there. So yes, we're very proud and we're working very hard to continue that, but it's 1 month and out of the last 6 years. So it's a great direction. The marketing campaign has been going wonderful. I am so glad we're in your faces, and we will continue to do that. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment on services? Okay, seeing none. There was no old business, but this will bring us to the new business. Just a quick summary, the first 2 items under new business are part of that Allegheny County vacant property program. We've had multiples of these through council throughout the time. It is a countywide program. As you heard earlier, adjacent property owners have the ability to buy vacant lots, clean them up, and for our benefit, puts them back on the tax rolls. So I think we've had a good discussion. I think we've got a lot of information. Is somebody willing to make a motion here on the, they're listed as the 2 here in front of us. If somebody wants to make a motion on the first one.
I'll make a motion to adopt tentatively identified resolution number 2025-13 for the acquisition and subsequent disposition of a vacant property known as lot and block number 713-H-179 in accordance with the requirements of Allegheny County Vacant Property Recovery Program.
There has been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, same thing.
Make the motion.
Mr. Casey?
Like to make a motion to adopt tentatively identified resolution number 2025-14 for the acquisition of subsequent disposition of a vacant property known as lot and block number 1205-H-49 in accordance with the requirements of Allegheny County Vacant Property Recovery Program.
There has been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Giorgetti. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item up for discussion is the approval of the 2026 Northland Public Library budget as was presented today. Is there somebody willing to make that motion?
I'd love to make it.
Please.
Motion to approve the 2026 Northland Public Library budget request in the amount of $717,063.
Second. Second, Ms. Clunin. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The last item in your packet is an e-bike ordinance. I think all of council members have received complaints about this. I think this is a topic that not only we at McCandless have to deal with. I think it's a lot of municipalities are dealing with this. And my first call when I got inquiries was to talk to John and, what do we do here? Talk to the chief, what do we do here? And this is a complicated process. And I just want residents to understand this is not a simple signature of a pen to solve this. And there's a lot here with the state and motor vehicle code and a lot of things that need to be done, not necessarily even at our local level, but at a statewide level. And what I think Mr. Schwend and what Chief have brought in front of us is a first step for us, something we can actually do here at the town in trying to help with some of these e-bikes, at least on our town properties and our town parks, where we are receiving complaints. So this was a draft. I think Mr. Schwend can answer any questions, but this is our famous first look, kind of putting it out there for the town to see, letting council kind of chew into this, and then, above comments and things like that, we'll, continue to refine it and see it for a vote future on. Mr. Schwinn, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think that e-bikes have been a situation that I remember council people have addressed with myself and the chief, we've heard from residents. It is mostly with concerns on roadways. That being said, we are limited what we can do and enforce on the roadways. A lot of that's up to the state. Motor vehicle code has to talk about these and who's allowed to use them and who isn't. The best thing we can do, number one, is start the discussion and try to educate parents and the kids who seem to be riding these about their hazards and how to properly ride them if they are going to ride them. But then we can also legislate on our town-owned properties and parks and specifically call out rules for those. I know one place where we had issues with these was along the Brant Trail. There have been a number of e-bikes riding up and down that trail, and we have the ability to prevent them from being on that trail through passing ordinance like this too. Part of the thing that I'll have to do as part of the municipal management community and the chief of the state chiefs police association is work with legislators to make them realize this is a problem. There are accidents that happen. There are kids who realize that these things go really fast and they can do what they want on them and not really receive any repercussions. And we're not in a position as a police department to stop every person we see on an e-bike and ask them for their age and identification. So, as much as some people would want to do that, we can't. So bringing attention to it, having a conversation, and an educational campaign would have to go hand in hand with this through social media and all our other typical methods of communication.
Correct me if I'm wrong though. If you have a motorized vehicle in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, aren't you required to have both a registration and a license plate?
This is probably gonna have what is defined as a register as a motor vehicle. And this is where you get into, and you can see even in our ordinance, the state has different things with different powers, different sizes. It's a very complicated process. So it's not as simple as saying, there goes that e-bike. It depends upon the size of the engine that's in it, the amount of battery there is.
See, here's my issue.
And it's at a state level. We can't
Yeah, I get it.
regulate vehicle motor code in
But
Pennsylvania.
here's what's happening in McCandless. We have kids that are riding these e-bikes, and we've had, correct me if I'm wrong, chief, but we've had two that have been very seriously injured over the course of the last several months. Am I wrong?
Certainly one last week.
Okay. So my thing is, we better tighten this up because I see them in my neighborhood. I see them in Ingomar.
They're all over the
They're
place.
riding all over the place where people are, and I mean, these kids are not exactly shy when they get, an electric bike underneath them. So we gotta do something locally.
And I think, you know, looking at this, what we can do on our town-owned properties and stuff, and also doing, and I think the big thing is, you know, an education campaign, putting it out there, trying to, you know, be proactive about it in educating.
Should we be working with North Allen County?
We need to work with the state.
Yeah.
The state's the ones who need to make the legislation to have. this.
Yeah, but the education of the kids locally. I think
I think our police department loves outreach events. I think, you know, it gives us an opportunity to do outreach on National Night Out, on other events with the police, you know, and maybe a separate event for e-bikes, something to that effect. I think that can be developed within our community here to do something.
Thank you.
So this is everyone's first look. By all means, you know, digging into it some more. There's a lot of technical language in there, which I'm sure is also why the state struggles with these. But we'll see this come around again. So if you have comments, by all means, email them off to John. You know, if there's anything more we want to talk about here, by all means.
Yeah, we'll review with, legal hasn't taken a look at this yet either. He'll make sure we put everything in there for compliance and see if there's anything we've missed that we can, you know, enforce within the powers of the vehicle code and make sure that our officers know about it.
That's what I had a question. One of the things in there was holding the parents accountable for minors. Like sometimes that gets tricky legally and, you know, how was I supposed to know he left the helmet? I bought him a helmet, he didn't wear it. How do we, does that become enforceable is what I'm curious. Like, why have an ordinance if we can't enforce it? That works.
It's like a seatbelt.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, if you're not wearing a helmet, so my kid's not wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah.
You still
I
get
mean, all my
ticketed.
kids have always owned helmets since they started riding, but I know they've been out riding without like regular bikes without helmets. Am I gonna get arrested for that? You know, where are we with this?
No, I think the goal behind it was, once again, discussion awareness. You know, when it says, when you word craft it to say that if they knowingly permit them to violate any of the provisions, you know, they shall not authorize them. Doesn't really have an enforcement mechanism behind it as much. We could trim that out if you didn't like it in there.
I mean, I would love to enforce it, but how?
You can't, yeah. So is it really worth putting it in there if you can't?
Don't they have a bicycle law about wearing helmets?
It's an
We're-
under
it's-
14
It's
law. There
different.
is a law.
Again, we're into e-bikes and then 16 on roads. It's probably.
And these are the rules of what you want on your town-owned spaces. So you can, you know, you can choose how you'd like to have them operate.
So
Ban them all together.
So
if you
the
wanted
long
to.
and the short of it is, the only thing that we really have power over is town space.
Yes.
The rest of it has to be done through Harrisburg.
Yes. As more comments and thoughts come into your head, by all means, email them up to John. It still is gonna go in front of legal. We've got some time, and I extend that to residents too. By all means, take a look at it. As you come up with things, email your council members, email administration. You know, we all want to fix this problem, but this one's gonna take some time. Any other discussion regarding that ordinance, proposed ordinance?
So the helmet ordinance is only for 14 and under, for the helmet laws.
I believe so.
I thought it was 12 myself, honestly. I thought it was 12.
We'll have to
under.
research that. I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
Okay. At this time then, is there any public non-agenda comments? This is the time if there was a comment to be made that was not on the agenda.
Irene Caliendo. I waited until the end because I wanted to be sure there was no hiccup in the funding vote. But first otherwise you would have had to.
There's a
have given-
reputation, I get it.
You would have had to have given me 10 minutes to talk because I'm.
Understood.
First, I do want to thank council for supporting the funding. I think it's essential. I think most residents think it's essential. Not only are libraries important, but in fact, Northland is the de facto community center in McCandless. So they couldn't do what they do without that funding. So it's very important. And I would also like to just put in a little pitch for, it's not, I believe it's the responsibility of the town to fund essential needs. And all of our authority boards are essential needs, so they need to get the same treatment. Mr. Wall, I'd like to thank you for your comments on Amy Steele. They were all spot on, excellent. I disagree with nothing that you said. And
Play that back.
in this particular instance. And and I would like to say that everybody at the library feels the same. Amy has done a tremendous job. And I want to assure everyone, though, and I think Amy would say this, that she has done such an excellent job that she has put in place an excellent management team. And so should we have a need to not have a new executive director in place before February 12th, I feel that the library will still be in good hands, and Amy's guidance will remain far beyond her leaving the front door. So
I had
thank
more
you.
to say, Irene, but I don't want her to cry.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public non-agenda comments this evening?
Good evening. My name is Greg Polanski. I'm a resident of Ward 4. I attended the Environmental Advisory Committee's September 30th deer presentation by the Pennsylvania Game Commission. And I want to commend the committee for making this information available. And I want to commend Council President Singer and the other council members that attended that meeting and that are on the committee. At that meeting, I became aware that the town's approach to deer management has changed, and that suburban whitetail management is no longer hunting on McCandless property. I understand, as the police chief indicated, that hunters may request permission to hunt on McCandless property by submitting a form to the police department. In the interest of transparency, I request that the Environmental Advisory Committee and/or the police department report monthly to town council on the number of registered hunters, the number of deer harvested by both residents and suburban whitetail. It would be great if the reporting included a comparison of the previous year. Based on my review of McCandless publications and social media activity, as well as the minutes of the town council and the Environmental Advisory Committee meetings, I found no evidence that McCandless has done anything to inform the public that the suburban whitetail management is no longer hunting on McCandless property. Yesterday, I saw the October 9th Town of McCandless Facebook posting that and I quote, that town-owned property has been opened up for hunting within the last year. That's the only thing that I found promoting resident hunting program. I would like council and town management to discuss further communications plans and explain why they have not addressed this sooner. Over 1/4 of this year's bow hunting season is gone. There seems to be minimal action in terms of this. The chief of police pointed out the number of deer in the last month. Looking at his reports over the last 2 months, it's clear that deer are the second largest incident that the police department deals with, second only to EMS calls. My research indicates that other municipalities have taken different approaches, more proactive approaches to handling deer. Fox Chapel, Mount Lebanon, Upper St. Clair, Ohio Township, and South Park have implemented a USDA APHIS contracted sharpshooting operations. Bethel Park has a municipal archery program. My question to council is, has McCandless considered implementing the USDA APHIS sharpshooting program and/or a municipal archery program? If not, why not? Can this be evaluated? It's perplexing to me that these approaches were not discussed at the September 30th meeting. The USDA IFAS report for Upper St. Clair is an excellent example of transparency. They include a map and show how many deer were taken in which sections of the municipality. Has the town council or the environmental advisory committee tried to quantify the cost to McCandless residents in terms of damage to plants and automobiles for evaluating the cost and benefits of a more proactive approach to deer management? The Upper St. Clair program totals roughly $30,000 to $40,000 a year in cost. Based upon their average deer removal, that comes out to $200 a deer. That seems like a pretty high price. But when you consider the cost of repairing an automobile that's been hit by a deer, and the fact that their deer collisions have dropped by 60 to 70 per year, you're talking about $300,000 worth of savings, a 10-to-1 return on investment, assuming only one collision per deer. And from my experience, oftentimes the deer runs away and can cause additional problems. In conclusion, I request that town council and management take a more active and more transparent approach to deer management, because it appears that the current approach is not providing much benefit to the residents. The limited discussion of deer management policies and alternatives in the town council environmental advisory committee meeting minutes lead me to two possible conclusions. Either the council and the committee are intentionally hiding their decisions and actions from the public, or they really haven't explored the alternatives that work for other communities in Allegheny County. Neither of these conclusions paint them in a very favorable light. I would like to think that there's another explanation, but I haven't been able to come up with it. I realize that deer management isn't the highest priority for the town of McCandless. However, if deer management is a significant issue for McCandless residents, town council and town management should be more proactive and transparent in addressing the issue. If council and management feel that deer management doesn't deserve more attention, they should continue what seems to be a laissez-faire attitude, and then they can see how residents react when they go to the polls. I look forward to seeing what town council and the environmental advisory committee do going forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments this evening. Are there any other public non-agenda comments this evening?
I want to thank the gentleman that just spoke because he did the research. I didn't do the research. I'm acting on my gut instinct. It's worse 4 years after you did the initial investigation because nothing's really been done here. You know, something does need to be done about our deer population. Please take action, and thank you very much.
Thank you for those comments. Any other non-agenda comments?
Ellen Wright. I'm looking ahead. It feels like it's budget season. And I'm kind of curious what the schedule is for that process. And it would be nice if that was put out somewhere. And the documents, to have them available to review, like, as opposed to like a Friday for a Monday meeting, because it's a more involved piece to have those documents available for a longer time period. And when is the budget usually, what date is that? Is that November, December, October? So when is the budget usually approved? When is the vote usually taken for that? Is that a
First meeting in December.
first meeting in December?
Yeah.
So if,
You'll have a public hearing the second meeting of November. You'll have a budget presentation the first meeting of November. Council has to receive the budget by October 15th. And there'll be meetings with council between the 15th and the first Monday of, or I'm sorry, the first meeting in November, where we'll take some first looks and reviews, and then Brittany will have a presentation for you on that first meeting.
Can we formalize that in a timeline and post it for us? That will help. That will help
Okay.
you and everyone.
Okay, so it's gonna go out on the website, is that what you just said?
Yeah, we'll put
it.
We'll put the budget schedule on the website.
Okay, and then, and so, excellent, thank you so much. And then the documents that go with that will also
As
be
they become
available?
available,
Is-
yeah.
Okay, because if they're the October 15th to the council, then they'll be available for us to take a look too. And the public hearing for the, ahead of the public hearing. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it from a public comment perspective. Think of that first meeting in November as kind of the first chance to look, and the hearing is really the chance to have the comments and making changes before the vote in December.
And
So
before we go any further with that, with Ms. Wright's comments, she's expecting that the public is gonna get a first chance look at the budget before council. Is that true?
No.
I don't think that's what she asked for. She
You're
just asked-
expecting the 15th. I know my meeting's not until the 22nd.
We'll put a formal budget schedule out there where everyone will have the opportunity to see when things are available. So there will be no confusion.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Please.
Paul Heckman. Now, I had my version of this meeting like 2 weeks ago, I guess, with my annual meeting of the HOA. Being a community of mostly senior citizens.
Those new residents, I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
Those
you know,
troublemakers.
Troublemakers. There's always one in the group. What can I say? One of the safety issues that has come up was while the corner at the Comingo where the new sidewalk is, and they put the cut it back, the wall still sticks out far enough that it's very difficult if you're back where you should be at the light to see the people running the red light coming down Perry Highway at 65, 70 miles an hour. And because it's a short light, everybody is inching to get out as soon as it changes, because if there's more than 2 cars there, not everybody's getting through off of North Meadows. Is there any way that there can be a delay or something put, well,
I'll put it to those two. Their mics don't work. I don't know what to tell you.
He can't be there 24/7. They do a great job of sitting on the highway. And I know this is the state's purview to decide these things, but is there any way for us to ask the state to put a delay on the light of like 5 seconds?
That's one of the lights that we have an oral
We
grant.
can
for.
research into the timing
So-
rules from PennDOT. and have
Yes,
them
so
take a
that you have they have an opportunity to run the red light, you have the opportunity not to pull out in front of them. Because at our age, the reflexes may not be as good as they used to be to look and stop and go.
You're getting it from both sides now. I don't know what to tell you.
I was kind of surprised that, it was still going on, but as I've sat there and we watched coming here tonight, well, I could have hit 3 deer on the way here, get back into deer from them. But we watched while we were sitting at the Richard Reichwold Perry Highway. A guy turned left onto Richard from the center lane, not the turning lane. In front of the car that was sitting in the turning lane. People are crazy. But the speeds that we're seeing now on Perry Highway are just, well, and because it's not, at least McKnight for that long stretch is 50. Whereas it's still 40 through the flats. And there are people doing way over 40.
35.
Yeah, I actually got cut off the other night. Somebody doing 65 or 70 miles an hour cut me off right on the way up the hill. It's crazy.
No, that's not unusual.
As you know, the timing is through the
Yes.
state, but we can make
But
inquiries.
and it's because it's a
try.
short light. I mean, we're not asking for more time at the light to come out from North Meadows or Whole Foods, because they have the same thing. When you see 8 or 10 cars lined up at Whole Foods, you know they're not all getting through that light without, again, running the light. So if there's something that can be done to maybe give everybody that little extra latitude in knowing that they're going to misjudge how soon that yellow light is actually going to go red when they're still at the post office. It would be appreciated, because I don't think you can't cut that corner back anymore to let us see down there far enough to see the speeding car. They're there pretty quickly. And Chief, you guys do a great job. We see the guy sitting up there but we don't expect you, that you can be there 24/7. Yes, sir. That's it. It's those people from Pine. Sorry, it's the people. I know they're not your problem, but they're coming into McCandless and causing a problem.
We'll run it up the flagpole.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. I will.
Deer coming in from mine.
Thank you for those comments.
I guess.
Thank you for your comments. Anything else on public non-agenda comments this evening? Okay, at this time, then we will adjourn into executive session where we will discuss personal and legal matters. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Paul.